Speaking
Um,
of girly screams, I like the Christmas card you got me, Bobby.
I was wondering where that was going as well.
oh, I sent a Christmas card to a little girl, and and we put
Yeah,
our dearest Tobetta or Tobita, whatever that
yeah,
called.
yeah.
Yeah, um, that's funny.
It was all pink and glittery and everything.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to episode 22 of the Geek Cast. I am Bobby, the Geek Guru, joined by the whole team, the whole squad, the boys, Toby and Alan this week. We'll start with Toby. Toby, how are you doing today?
Oh, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while. You've been having some serious issues.
Not
Yeah.
long enough.
Not long enough. Well, I'm back. These
Um,
days, Alan.
The love between these two. I love it.
Get used
Alan,
to
how are
it.
you?
I'm fine. I'm getting used to Toby being back between Windows 10 crashes and headphone malfunctions and
nothing
toilet breaks and
Windows 10.
general
It was
whinging.
my G drive messed up on me, alright?
Anyway, so we're going to kick this episode off like we do every episode with our geek outs. I already know what Alan's geeking out about, so I'm going to put him on hold for a minute. Toby, what are you geeking out about right now?
I'm geeking out about the new Mario Maker updates. that
Okay.
are coming. Are they out yet? I don't know. I haven't looked.
No, I don't think they are yet.
But basically, they're adding a few new elements that I think are going to change up how a lot of people make their levels. Because you see, like, a lot of people have like similar ideas with level design, and you see a lot of the same sort of tricks used over and over. And now they're adding a bumper, which is like a big like donut ring that you can bounce off of. And they're also adding P-switch doors, which are basically invisible doors that are activated when you press a P-switch. And I think that those two things are gonna like add some really cool level mechanics that people are gonna pick up on, and you're gonna get some really unique new level types to play. Also, there's the new clown car thing where you can fire fireballs from a clown car, so you're gonna get a lot of like shmup levels where you can shoot through blocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, you showed us the add-ons and stuff, the video that Nintendo put out. I like it. I think there's going to be some pretty cool stuff that's going to come down the pipeline with that, and I hope that they just continue to really throw some stuff at us. That would be really cool.
Yeah. Also, as well, like there's a new like search feature like with the website and that, and now when you complete a level, it tells you who the fastest person in the world is to beat that level.
Yeah, I like that.
So
I think that's going to add some variety to these levels now.
Yeah, and that gives you more incentive to play the level again to like try and get your name on that leaderboard.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably what excited me the most out of all of that. And it also shows you just who the first person to beat a level is. That's kind of cool too, you know?
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah.
It's kind of neat. Alan, I know what you're geeking out about, right?
Do you, Bobby?
Episode 7?
Do you know what I'm geeking out about?
Oh my god, Alan!
Do you know what I'm geeking out about, Bobby?
I'm not really sure. Could you tell us, Alan?
I think you better explain what's going on for the listeners.
The Force Awakens, ladies and gentlemen, is out. It's amazing.
That's all you're allowed to say. But Alan, for the people that can't see, because Alan just ignored what Toby said. Alan has a stormtrooper mask that he just put on when I said that to him, so that was kind of funny.
We should get one for Toby. You can wear it all the time.
Yeah,
hide that ugly face. Hi, Toby.
Damn, that's
I don't
nasty,
mean
man.
it. That
Okay.
hurts his feelings.
All right, we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop the attacks on Toby. He's fragile. Be nice.
I didn't sign up for that.
Without getting too detailed, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and I just want you to answer them. Don't go too deep.
I'll stay focused.
Does it live up to everything that you were expecting?
Yes.
Okay. Walking away from it, like, did you feel the need to go back and see it again immediately?
Yes.
Okay. And do you feel like... What the hell was that?
Sorry, that's the car
That's
outside.
fine. do you feel like it's going to? Do you feel like it's going to be a situation? Because if people think back and they watch the original second trilogy, that if you watch episode 1, 2, and 3, people came out of those theaters like through the roof, hyped up, all excited for it, and then later turn their backs on it. Do you feel like that will happen, or do you think like this is legit and this is going to stay the course?
This is what the prequels should have been.
Okay, that's all I need to know. All right, you're done. You're done. You're not allowed to talk no more. Because Toby and I haven't seen it, and a lot of people haven't seen it yet.
So we have to do a spoiler cast.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We'll do that.
Yeah,
we'll do that. Once we've already decided that once the three of us have watched it, we'll do. Which I plan on watching it this coming week, one day, and once the three of us have watched it, we will do an episode where we just get in and talk about all the craziness.
I have seen a few people's first impressions, spoiler-free videos. James and Mike from Cinemassacre did one, and they gave their first impressions without giving any spoilers of the film, and they were like seriously hyped on it as well. And they said one thing about it that I don't know if it will be a spoiler or not.
So we'll talk about it.
So I better not say it.
Don't say nothing. Just leave it alone. It's done. It's done.
Nothing about the story or anything, but
I don't care. It's done. Okay. Right. So what I am geeking out about is this just happened to me like maybe 20, 30 minutes ago, actually. Well, more than that. But I came home from work, and I opened up my phone, and I got a text message from James from the Life of Gaming podcast, and he gave me a $10 gift card to the eShop. And I was like, that's really, it was a Christmas present. He said Merry Christmas, and he said thanks for the support and all that stuff. So I was blown away. I wasn't expecting that. That came out of nowhere. So James, thank you very much. I appreciate it. But I also wanted to kind of get into one thing too, in addition to that. But before I do with that, like seriously, thank you, James. Like that really, I was blown away. I wasn't expecting you to do anything. I don't expect anybody to do anything for me. So I sincerely appreciate that, very much so. Be sure to check out James's podcast that I said, the Life of Gaming podcast, but he also has a new Nintendo podcast that he does once a month, so you might want to check that out as well. But what I wanted to say was I did have a few people reach out to me and want to do something for me for Christmas, and I don't feel comfortable doing that at all. So what I want to say to people is this. If you want to give any of us a Christmas gift and you want to do something really cool for us, share this podcast with as many people as you possibly can. Go on to iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, YouTube, whatever. Leave comments. Rate us on iTunes. Like, that would be awesome. That would be the greatest Christmas gift you could do for me. I would be wholeheartedly appreciative to that, because I am appreciative to anybody that listens to us ramble and talk. So that would be what I would say. So again, thank you, James, and for anybody that's looking for a Christmas gift, you can just rate us. That's good enough for me.
I will put my Amazon wish list in the description.
And mine. A lot of whiskey on there. But
all right, we're going to kick it off with what we're playing. And Alan, you're up first. What are you playing this week?
Well, I'm still playing Just Cause 3.
I'm so
just getting through that.
Games you take forever.
Yeah. I did buy that. What was that game? Steam something. Yeah, I haven't. What was it? Steam World Dice or something.
You wonder why Image and Form does not like you. This is why.
I'm not lying. I'm playing that game and I love it, and but I love it for the wrong reasons. I think I find it. I like it when I get caught and my characters keep blowing up and I have to keep going back and playing levels over and over. I think I've become a bit of a grind fan. It
does. There's a grinding aspect to that if you really get into it, you could have a lot of fun with it. My first playthrough took me 23 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
I did a lot of grinding in it. I went back to the first levels and tried to level people up and unlock weapons and stuff. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, but no, I'm really loving it, and I tip my hat to you and Toby again. Toby, you weren't here last week, so thank you for the gift. Yeah.
I know what you mean though about feeling like you're enjoying it when even though you're losing, and you like, or if you get in a sticky situation where you're down to your last man, but you manage to pull through by like
Yeah.
having good
And
accuracy.
I love the artwork. I love the characters that they've created are all really funny. I think the humor it's just it wasn't what I expected. And now that I'm in it, I'm really enjoying it. And I am kind of going. I'll be playing Just Cause, and it's like, oh, your DualShock needs to recharge, and I'll just stick it on. And I'll start playing that, and that's what I like about a game. I pick it up and play it as I want, not slog through it.
I'm really excited to see the HD version, and the reason why I say that is when I had demoed the game, Brian was talking to me about it, and he had said one of the cool things with the HD version is it's deep in color. Like, what you don't realize is, like, and it's harder to see with the 3DS version as it would be on an HD screen and all that, but, like, in the shadows, that's full on, like, there's nuts and bolts behind all that shadows and stuff, so the shadows is kind of a layer over it. So let's say you blow something up, and as you guys know, when you blow something up, there's a big explosion. You hit the TNT tanks or whatever, and they blow up, or the barrels, and they blow up. So when you blow up, if you look, like, you'll see all of a sudden the shadow disappears and all the rivets and stuff on the wall, and there's just a lot of depth and detail to this game, and I'm really looking forward to the HD version as well. I'm
definitely going to get it just because when you look at it, you kind of think this game's being held back by that low-res screen, and it will look amazing. Yeah. And I have to, Jules and the rest of that team, thank you, because it's an amazing game, and you can tell they put a lot of love into it. So.
Yeah. Tobes, what about you? What are you playing?
I'm pretty much just playing SteamWorld Heist still at the moment. I'm 16 hours in now. I think I'm getting towards the end of the game, but I don't know. I mean, is there anything more I can say about it? I mean, we wanted to do a discussion video about it, like a sort of a review discussion thing, so I think we can still do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll save my thoughts for that.
What we'll do is when you beat the game, you and I could come in, and if Alan catches up and beats it, the three of us could just sit down and just do a chat about kind of like a spoilerish type thing. Like, we could just talk about what we liked about the game, full end, and all that stuff.
I think I could go quite deeply into what I like about it and what I don't like about it.
I can too. Myself, obviously, SteamWorld Heist. I'm at 32 hours on that game right now, and I actually started a second log, I guess you would say.
Like a New Game Plus.
Yeah, well, I did the New Game Plus, but I mean, I even started over from the very, very beginning. And I'm like an hour in on that. So, because I'm trying to go through and like 3-star everything and get a high rating on it all. But the one that I'm excited about that I started playing Thursday is Minecraft on the Wii U, and it's got me back. I'm like deep in already and really loving it. And it's not, there are a couple things that I see myself missing from the PS4 version. The only thing that I would... What's that?
What's missing?
Obviously trophies. So that's kind of fun because it gives you goals to go after for like the crafting and stuff. So that's always, like, I found myself with the PS4 version was like I would pull up the trophy list and see what trophy, and then I would see a trophy and I'd go, oh, I got to do this. How do I do it? And then like baking a cake and stuff like that, like different things that you don't think about just doing on your own. The trophy list would kind of tell me like, hey, go do that or go do that. So that's one thing. That's really it, honestly. That's probably the only thing that I find different between the two so far. I mean, I got about probably 5 hours in on the game, but looks-wise, it's not like Minecraft is just mind-blowing, graphical thing, so it looks the same. The only thing that I find different is when you're mining into, like, when you're mining and you're blowing through blocks and you get deep into tunnels. When you get to the point where you really can't see, it's a weird looking shade on the wall. So it forces you to throw a candle or a torch up, because where on the PS4 version I can keep digging, and even though it's dark, I can still get a feel for what I'm digging into, and that's where you can't kind of lose. The deeper you go, you lose that little clarity. But other than that, and that's a minor detail. That's not even an issue. I love the game, and I'm really looking forward to like diving in with you guys if you guys decide to get it. I know Mark.
I think
Mark
probably struggle a bit more with that on the gamepad because the gamepad colors aren't as rich as the TV colors.
Yeah.
And I don't even use the gamepad. I'm using the TV. But I'm actually using my Pro Controller. I'm not even using the gamepad.
I think the world is the same size as the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 world, so it's a bit smaller than it is on PS4. But the world's big enough as it is. I don't think it needs to be that.
Does the lack of inventory management on the gamepad, do you think that's hurting it? Or do you think it would if you were playing it?
Not at all. It means, listen, it's not like if you played the other versions, they had something and this is taking away from it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like the other versions had it and all of a sudden, Nintendo is not giving it to us. Like, they've discussed and they've said that like it's probably something they'll patch in at a later date, but it's not like you miss it. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal. Like the inventory, it's not like the inventory is hard to manage. That's what annoyed me was I was listening to people talk about it. And they're like, well, it would have been easier to manage the inventory since it's live, and when you hit pause, you really don't stop. So what? It's not like the PS4 version has that over it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't notice any. If you know how to play Minecraft, you know how to work around that stuff. If you're being attacked, you just run until you can get a free second to grab what you need to grab, and then you go back after what you're going after. It's not an issue.
The thing is with the inventory on the PS4 is if you know the shortcuts, then it's just really quick and easy to manage anyway, because you can move everything at once from your inventory to your toolbar and vice versa, or you can pick up half of it at a time with just one press of a button. So it's not like dragging it with your stylus is going to be any quicker than that.
Yeah, exactly. And it really isn't that big a deal. Like, the people that are complaining and saying that stuff are just, they're being idiots about it. And the people that, haven't played that go, oh, well, now I don't want it because you're just being stupid. Yeah. Like, it's a really good game, seriously. Yeah. Minecraft is Minecraft. Minecraft is one of those games where you just get in and you start doing stuff and you lose time so fast.
There's a new update as well coming. They called it their biggest update ever, and it's coming to Wii U as well as the other consoles. So it's not like they're gonna leave the Wii U for future updates or anything. It's gonna stay the same as the other versions. So.
Yeah. Just give us the Zelda skins.
I'll tell you right now, and they've already said that they're working with Nintendo to do some exclusive content for the Wii U. And I'm telling you right now, and me and you had talked about it, Alan. Like, if they give us like a Zelda skin where like the texture packs are all Zelda, forget about it. This game will sell through the roof if they start doing that stuff, and I think they're going to. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, they probably will. They'll probably do like an Animal Crossing pack and a Mario pack and a Zelda pack, and I would buy it again on Wii U if they did that. And you know that if they did that and the inventory management, then it would suddenly become probably one of the best, if not the best version of Minecraft.
Absolutely. Could you imagine? Because everybody's clamoring for like Zelda Maker and stuff like that. Like, if you have that, there you go. There's your Zelda Maker. Yeah. Like, it would be insane, especially with the stuff they do with the red blocks and stuff. Like, you can actually make trapdoors and all kinds of crazy stuff. It would be awesome.
Yeah.
But we're kind of getting off on a tangent here, so we're going to kind of rope it back in, kick off with our first topic, and basically where this comes from was last week when we went off the air, Alan and I started having, well, I think a heated discussion continued for a little bit, and then we kind of moved into NX, and I started just questioning Alan on all kinds of stuff because if you don't know, me and Toby aren't really tech savvy with everything, but Alan is pretty up to par with what is going on, and he has his finger on the pulse as far as tech goes. So I just started questioning him on NX rumors that we had heard to get a feel for where they're going with this thing. So I kind of felt like let's go back and redo that, but actually record it this time and see what we come up with. So go ahead, Alan. Why don't you start off and then we'll just start popping in questions.
Yeah, I think last week it kind of all stemmed from, like Bobby said, we just got into I think it was that controller patent was the big one. Which I think personally that's just a patent idea. I think there's other rumors that tie to that, but I think that is just one of those. We're going to cover our bases and have this all-encompassing touch device.
What was that patent for then? Can you describe it?
That was the if you've seen the image, it's like the oval display with the character, but it's all virtual buttons, but it's on like a handheld-looking controller. That was the kind of crux. But for me, that kind of then spread into all the other stuff and what we can probably expect. And, you know, as Bobby said, he just started throwing questions at me, and I was just kind of
applying
what we have and what I expect.
Yeah, if you looked at the controller, the patent controller, it looked kind of like GameCube handles coming down with a disc, kind of an oval disc on it. And on the disc were people did like mock-ups, and there was two. One was basically, if any of the pictures you looked at had Mario Kart, and on one of them was virtual buttons, and then the other one was actual buttons. And it was like, well, which one would you prefer? Would you rather like the sticks and the buttons, or with the virtual? Everybody I've talked to wants the sticks. They don't want the virtual. But the vibe was, what we were saying after the show last week was, we felt like that was your hybrid that you take away. And you go off and you take it, but then when you come back, it sinks in, and you could start playing together. You know, you can start playing on your TV or whatever with that controller. So, and it's more where my questions were coming into, and some of my bigger questions were basically like, hey, look, you know, what's all this flash memory, and what's the talks about cartridges again as opposed to discs and stuff. So explain to people where they're going, or where the rumors at least are going with. How are you going to get your games from now on?
Personally, when I look at it, I looked at because I told you I'm trying not to bog down because I got kind of carried away last week, but we can look at the rumors, and we can also then apply logic. And there's the rumor that this thing's going to be more powerful than a PS4. But that then seems to tie that everyone seems to think it's going to be a hybrid. Well, you can't have both. You will have a hybrid, or you're going to have a powerful PS4. So looking at that, we kind of then got onto the storage medium, and you were asking about the flash memory. And the way I look at it is, it's cheaper now. Flash memory is cheaper generally to produce. They won't be tied to a license as they are, because obviously we use a Blu-ray drive. It just doesn't play Blu-ray films. And then it ties back to the hybrid. And the theory I mooted to you was a one cartridge setup that allows on a system that scales. So you'll have two separate items. You'll have a home console device that plays the cartridge, and the option in the future is you can buy the handheld portable version, which will run a similar but less powerful spec. And your cartridge will work between the two. So I can buy my copy of Splatoon 2.0, play it on home version, and I'll have extra bells and whistles, smoother frame rate, you know, more effects. Save it onto the cartridge. I can then stick it in the handheld, and as I go about, I'm playing the same game. It's graphically going to see a bit of a hit, but my save transfers, I can keep playing. They'll have mobile, so I can play on the internet. And it kind of drew onto that, because you were kind of like, well, how does that work with, you know, the sizes? And, you know, 128 gig is already twice the size.
Yeah, what we want. So for people that don't realize, because I didn't realize, it never hit me until we had this conversation. When we're saying flash memory, we're talking about SD cards. Like basically what you use already for a lot of your stuff. Like your 3DS is recorded and all that. All the memory is on the flash or the SD cards that you have. So that is what the rumor is the way they will move. So your games now will be on there. So my question was well, how can a game fit on there? But like you said, go ahead with the size.
Yeah, you've got 64 gig to 128 gig, and I think Wii U discs top out at 50. So right away, if even at the minimum you would want to go for, you're already above what you have. I mean, Wii U games look stunning, but if they have to go top end, well, you're twice the capacity that we have already. But yeah, that was a big sticking point because you wanted, well, how does the game play? Well,
so let's put it in. Okay, real quick. So let's put it in context. What size is a game like GTA? Like how many gigs is something like that?
Toby loves GTA, but I think it's 40. I think the memory on you have to dump about 47 gig.
That's right. Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
And that's for now. Is that the entire game, or is that just for what gets dumped onto the console that we use to play with?
Well, I use a disc, and I think it's about that much that's on the console. But I don't know if it'd be different if you downloaded it or not.
I think Metal Gear, I remember because I had to go through and delete to make room, and the memory dump from Metal Gear was somewhere in the region of 53 gig, and that's what's stored on your hard drive.
Now, 53 gig is, let's just say hypothetically, it's 80 gig. Yeah. We're still talking not much memory at all compared to an SD card, because an SD card you can get a 64 gig, you can get a 128, a 256. Yep. The 128s is when you start to go up in money when you talk about the size of them. But even so, it's still cheaper, I feel, than a game for some level.
I was trying to find manufacturing costs and failed miserably. So if anyone out there can get that, I would love to know because it is something I want to know. But sorry, Toby.
I bought a high-end 32 gigabyte SD card the other day on Amazon. It was like 13 quid for a 32 gig. So, and I'm sure obviously it costs a lot less than that to manufacture. So.
Yeah. So the reason why I wanted to bring that into context in terms of the game size, because when you look at Nintendo games, one of the biggest games is Smash, and that was 15 gig. You know, Xenoblade was 15 gig just for the packs. And then the game was probably, another 15? So you're talking 30 gig total.
I think it was like 30 odd just for the game.
Yeah, 30 for the game.
Okay, so it's 45. Yeah. So you're still, for a 64 gig SD card, that's not a lot at all. Like, that's not, money-wise, it doesn't cost a lot. You're still less money than a regular Nintendo game or a PlayStation game. So
it also has added benefits for, apart from the handheld side, but a big problem I'm noticing now with the big games is load times. Mm-hmm. You know, there are epic waits, and Just Cause 3 is a great example. It takes forever for it to kind of load the game into the RAM because it's huge. But then you're limited by the disk speed. That's why we have to dump onto the hard drive. You have to dump to take away some of that. But flash memory can write and read quicker if I'm right than it can from a disk. So added benefit there, streaming a world off an electronic device, i.e. the flash card, will mean smoother frame rate, less pop-in. But
It would make the console cheaper because they wouldn't need to put a disk drive in it.
Exactly, which also affects power draw, which means
lower. And this console needs to be cheap to be successful, I think.
Yeah.
You know what? My opinion on that controller pattern, like I do not want a controller like that. I don't want to have a screen where my thumbs are overlapping the screen to play it. Like whether it's got actual buttons or not, like. I think that's ridiculous.
I actually think that patent can be tied to something Sharp and Nintendo a deal. Sharp are developing a freeform LCD display, high def, but it can be built around things, and that's where I got my initial idea that I once called. I think it was on my defunct podcast where it's like, imagine that you're holding the controller, but your thumbsticks are actually on the game, so it looks like it's floating above the game. And that would work with that freeform LCD display, but physical control. But then costs a fortune.
Why would you want to do that, though? How does that improve your gaming experience?
It doesn't. That's the thing that gets me. Nintendo, it's why I don't know if they'll go for this. I think they're just covering a base with a patent.
Yeah, that's the thing. And that's the other thing. Like, right now, patents are coming out all the time. all the time. Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, they're throwing patents out probably every month. The problem is that, and maybe every month is a bit exaggeration, probably like once a quarter they're doing patents and stuff. The problem is because everybody wants to know what NX is, people are paying really close attention to when Nintendo patents stuff. So it could be nothing. It could be something that they're looking at that, like, it could just be another handheld that they're going to do maybe 5 years from now. It's something they're tinkering with. But they need to patent it so nobody can come in and swipe the idea from them and beat them to the market with it. So I think that something like this is maybe just protecting themselves.
I think the power is the thing. That's folk don't like to hear that Nintendo aren't going to compete with Sony. I think that when folk heard it wasn't going to be as powerful as the PS4, I think it was Liam Robertson put that out, they all jumped down his throat and were like, what are you talking about? No, it'll be powerful. Best rumor for how powerful the Wii and the Wii U, the NX will be, was when Square Enix said they were bringing, was it Dragon Quest, the new one?
Mm-hmm.
It's called PS4.
Yeah.
That runs on Unreal 4. Nintendo aren't going to make a system that can compete with PS4. I was trying to bring it up here, but it was like minimum spec to run Unreal Engine 4. I think is low-end 4 gig RAM. It can run on a 1.6 processor. You know, when you look at that, we can extrapolate this is what we'll get. It's not going to be a powerhouse. It's going to be efficient like the Wii U. It's going to have a lot of... The chip will be super custom. It's going to have a lot of built-in effects. Like the reason Mario Kart 8, Mario and all that look great but look similar is they run off the chip in the Wii U that actually has built-in shader effects, and it pretty much is just doing it, and that takes a huge workload off that chip, which means it can concentrate on everything else. And that's where Nintendo don't get a lot of credit. The Wii U is on par with PS4, but can run, when it launched, it was running games that the PS4 and Xbox 360 required like 100 watts to run because the chip needed to be ramping up to do the work. It was running the one, was it 75 at the most or 45 watts? People don't give that machine credit. It is a powerhouse in its own way. That's what we're going to get with NX. It's going to be fast, it's going to be efficient, but it is not going to be a portable PS4. It will, I would think, run cartridges. It'll be scalable. That was a big thing I said to you, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
If they go the way I think, you put the cartridge in one, you can put it in the other. It means they can half development time because they can make one game that can be split over 2 formats. So if, oh, Mum, I want the 200 quid handheld versus the 400 quid home console. Oh, cool. There you go. But all the games will work on it. It'll be,
exactly.
You know, it'll...
I can see the scaling thing working like that because of PC games, because you can have PC, you can play a game on the minimum specs or the maximum specs. So your handheld could play on the minimum and your PC could play the maximum. And that would be good, like for a price point thing. It's a good incentive. You know, it is a selling point having games run on both systems. You know, if you want it, it's optional if you want the handheld, or it's even optional if you want the home console, as long as you've got one of them.
Well, if you think about it, you know, if it does 2 things for Nintendo. One, it takes them from splitting development, because right now they're developing for 2 different consoles, you know, with the 3DS and for the Wii U, where if they could say to their teams, hey, just make one game. So you think about it, you could have where they're making a Mario game for the 3DS and a Mario game for the Wii U. Now you could take those teams and marry them and say, okay, make bigger games, make, you know, more expansive games, you know, or we could do something where you're working on one game.
Yeah.
Guess what? 2 years later, you already have another game coming out where the wait time isn't as long in between games. That could really help Nintendo if third parties are to bail on them again, where that was the biggest complaint. But if people own a Wii U and they own a 3DS, if you look at those in terms of games coming out, Nintendo produces games every single month. They've got games. It's just some are for the 3DS, some are for the Wii U. But if you're all in with Nintendo, you're not really going without games.
Yeah.
And I think this would help them in terms of like, hey, you just make one game now, and it works for the handheld and it works for the home console.
I think the scalability, and again, picking up a point because they're coming back to me like I'm an old man now. Not as old as Bobby, but I'm an old man.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The scaling will also come. I think what we're not seeing is tied to the old rumor that Nintendo are working on Android. There was that big one that got debunked. It's like, no, we're not working on Android.
Yeah.
But if Nintendo plan the scalability and it will work internally, they then have to think, how do we make it so that we can entice indie developers, third-party developers to work in this environment? That's going to have a massive effect on their dev kits. And I think hardware dev kits is one small aspect. I think the big one is that likely they're working on a new software environment. That means, let's say, who's a big developer on the iPhone or Android, they could buy Nintendo's £100 or something, or the £20 a month. They can get the virtual environment for NX and develop on any system. And again, scalability. We can take our game that runs on this X phone that runs on an ARM processor, but thanks to this new software, it's easy for us to scale the game and build it in the environment to work on their system, which is a big thing, because that's the problem with indies, is going from handheld to console is there's this huge price gap that they've got to buy the hardware to develop the game. But if they can get in a license for software to develop a game that can then be easily ported digitally or to cartridge, that makes Nintendo an even more attractive thing. But they don't then have to, massively slash what they're expecting to make. It's all about, again, Nintendo, maximize profit, but maximize the development time. More for them.
I think why people want, and I'm going to come from my own perspective and explain this. I think why people want Nintendo to be as powerful, or if not, for myself, I just want them as powerful as a PS4. It doesn't have to be over the top better than the PS4. My reasoning is I want third parties to come back to Nintendo. I want, and let me explain something to you. When I was growing up, I always had a Nintendo console, but I always had an additional console. But if a game hit both systems, I always went to Nintendo. It was just the way I always did it. And I would go back to that. Right now, I don't have that option. But if I was given that option, I would totally go back to that. But I don't want a far inferior product on the Nintendo console. And that was where the problem began. When I'm playing a game like Arkham City, what am I going to buy it on? I'm going to buy it on the one that's not inferior. And that was the biggest issue with the Wii U versus PS3 and versus now against the PS4. You can't even compete with it. But when it was PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U, at that real beginning, the Wii U just ran horribly. And that's why a lot of people didn't support the third party. Now, if it ran comparable, you're going to see people buying on the Wii U. It's just, that's what developers have to understand. If you give us garbage, we're not going to buy it on that console. And that's just, I don't care who you are. It just makes no sense. Why would you buy something that lags out, runs choppy, and all that stuff? So you want to have a good experience when you're playing and not sitting there like trying to traverse across Gotham City with Batman and it lags out midway through flight and stuff, and then you start slowing down and it picks up again, and so it's just different things like that. Toby, you got any questions?
Well, going back to the scalability of the games, right? So we were saying if you could have lower spec games running on the handheld and the higher spec version on the home console, do you think that would mean in 2 or 3 years that Nintendo could re-release like a better, higher spec version of the home console, that the games could be upscaled, like the specs on the games could go higher on, because over time things get cheaper to produce, so they might be able to put a more powerful version out?
I would have said no, and again, I'm no inside information. My insider left the position he was in. To him. But they did announce that other patent that came out, a week ago, that was about modular setup, where you could add a device on that bumped everything up a bit more. I don't think Nintendo, again, it's like you have to weigh that up with the Nintendo we have, and I don't think they would do that. But again, it's a patent that I think works, that if in the future we release another successful system. Hey, oh, the Xbox 2's, would it be the Xbox 2?
Whatever.
Whatever they call it, the PS5 comes out. Oh, right, cool. Here's a $100, $150 add-on. It increases RAM and takes load off the GPU, because they did it for laptops. You could buy external graphics cards that you could hook up to your laptop, and it did all the work. It's entirely technology that already exists, but it's making it affordable, profitable, and you have the install base there that are going to buy it.
And what
And that's
about?
a big problem Nintendo have got, is getting people back on board. And I think, whatever they do come next year, I mean, the system won't be out till 2017, in my opinion, but whatever happens next year, they have to get people on board day one, because if they have another Wii U cock-up like they did in terms of getting the marketing across, they are going to struggle from there on. I mean, look what happened with Microsoft. The Xbox One's a really great thing now, but no one's buying it in the numbers that make it. I mean, Rise of the Tomb Raider has just tanked, really, compared to every other game. They need to get the marketing message right day one, make sure they've got the press on board, be more open to the press, and get the third parties eating out of their hand.
And wasn't there that strange pattern about sort of cloud computing, and that it's sort of the theoretical thing that you could use your neighbour's console's power to improve the power of your console when they're not using it, or something weird like that. Very like sci-fi technology, in my opinion, but
yeah,
wouldn't
that's
that be
another
cool
one of those.
if they did something crazy and weird like that? I mean, do you think that's going too far?
No, I mean, it's not out of the realms of possibility. I mean, again, it's like Microsoft's Xbox Azure tech. They've got the cloud computing, and everyone's like, it's the edge over PS4. And it's like, well, be fair, Sony could buy or rent, if you want, the servers and have that same tech on their system. It's all tech that exists. Nintendo love tech that exists. It's cheap.
Yeah. All right, so let's we're gonna kick it along a little bit. Hopefully, you guys are listening. You didn't lose track of where we're going and all that stuff, and you have an idea. But if you do have questions or stuff like that, definitely shoot Alan some messages or.
Oh, thank God you finished that. I thought you were just telling me to shoot me.
Oh, stop. That too. But anyway, I just thought about something that happened prior show, so I don't want to get into it. But so this week we heard that Kojima is starting a new studio, and everybody saw that coming. It wasn't a big deal. But he actually signed, I don't know whether he signed exclusivity, but he's going to make games for the PlayStation 4. His first one's going to be exclusive for the PS4.
Yeah.
I know that.
I think it's just the first one.
Yeah.
It is. But what's got two thumbs and called it?
This
guy.
Shut your face. Is there any shock to him, to anything that happened out of this deal? Is there any shock to it from you guys?
Nope.
No. I think the only shock for me was when I heard that he is not doing anything that kind of relates to the franchises he's done before.
Meaning, well, let's be honest. I think he was tired of Metal Gear as it was, and to come out and go to do like an Inafune or something like that, or an Iga, and be like, oh, we're gonna do Castlevania, or we're gonna do Mega Man clones. I think he just was like, hey, let me just go do something different. And I think where he's at, I'm surprised he didn't sign exclusively. I'm surprised he didn't and I'm sure at some point down the line it's going to turn into like a Naughty Dog or something like that, where he's just going to make games exclusive for Sony, because he's going to need that infusion of money to do the type of games that he does. I think Sony made the best move ever, because no matter what he puts out, that first game is going to sell like crazy. But I was a little shocked that you didn't even hear anybody else make any plays for him at all.
He said in the video that he's had offers, lots of offers from other people.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Just because you didn't hear about it doesn't mean it wasn't happening.
Well, what I mean is okay, here's my example. When there's a free agent in football, or basketball. The biggest would be LeBron James. Okay, so years ago, if people remember, LeBron James played for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he became a free agent. And he went on this press junket, and he was going all over the country, and all these people were catering to him. And, he even did like an interview where he made an announcement of he was going to Miami. I just expected to hear like, hey, he's going to, Nintendo this week, and Nintendo's going to pitch him, or he's going to, not necessarily he's going there. Like, that would seem a little weird, but just the fact that, like, hey, he was at, people spotted him at the Nintendo headquarters, and he's in talks with Nintendo, or people have talked to him with Microsoft. Like, I felt like if anybody needed him, it was Microsoft. Like, I think if Microsoft, I was more shocked that Microsoft didn't make a bigger play than Sony did.
This announcement smacks of this was going to be a big PSX reveal, but Konami just lawyered up and were just like, you do anything, and that's all I can think of is like, it was surprisingly low key.
Yeah.
I think they really did want to drop the bomb at PSX and say, boom, Kojima's working with us. And I just think that Konami have just sent, if you announce anything directly competing with us, we will sue you into the ground.
Because, and that makes a lot of sense that you're saying that, because it felt like the keynote at PSX was a little and that would have, like, if that would have ended the show, him coming, it would have been huge. So there's a possibility that you might be onto something there, where that could have been like a big closer on PSX.
Would it really have been huge though? Because I don't think so. Because when you're watching an event like a keynote speech like that, or a keynote thing, then you want to see a trailer or some footage.
No, you don't. If he comes out,
listen. If he comes out stage and goes, "Yeah, I'm working for Sony," that's it. Like,
you're crazy.
You'll get a clap, but like.
No, let me explain something to you.
He's got nothing to show.
Remember Ken Levine coming out with the PlayStation Vita and saying, "We're working on BioShock," and he disappeared. Nothing to show. It was just, this guy's working on Vita.
You're talking about. Everybody wants to know what he's doing. His next big thing. This isn't a nobody producer. This is a big time guy that. For the last 6 months, that's all how many episodes did we talk about Kojima and Konami? Especially in the early goings, we had 2, 3, 4 episodes in a row where it just seemed like that's all we were talking about leading up. I think you're wrong in the fact of Kojima is a huge name, and right now, especially after all the stuff with the awards and all that, obviously the awards kind of messed up him going, but I'm saying, like, that was huge. Like, he's a big. I think, to me, in the third party realm, he's a Miyamoto. Like, not in terms of his creations, but in terms of the fan love of him. It's the same level. The people that love him are rabid fans, just like they are for Miyamoto. And I think in the third party world, he's a big name. Like, Kojima is a huge. And what's huge about him is his love for the fans and his fan service. Like, you look at the things he does in his games. Even as he's making the games, he's doing little games and teasing, and the way he puts out teasers and trailers, like, he takes pride in what he's doing. And I think you're underselling it a little bit in the terms of if you think that wouldn't have been a huge thing.
To steal a quote from Zoolander, Kojima's so hot right now. And it's just about mindshare, and it's like Sony coming out and saying, we're now teamed, we'll say exclusively, or working exclusively with Kojima's new studio on the next game. It doesn't matter they've got nothing to show. It doesn't matter that he could be working on, like some twisted version of Animal Crossing. For them, it goes to the gamer, Kojima's working with Sony. That's why I need to get my next system.
They could have just done something as terms of done a trailer of him coming to Sony and exposing his new logo.
Thank God we finished that as well.
If you looked at, I saw this. Where the hell did I forget where I saw it. I saw it on the internet someplace. But if you looked at, like, his logos, right? So when Snake or Big Boss was working with a team, they had the Fox logo,
Yeah.
right? And then when Big Boss was alone, they had like the skeleton type level. But then when Kojima Productions was working with Konami, it had the Fox logo. And then now that he's out of Konami, it's got a similar to the Big Boss alone. Little things like that is what he does, which is really awesome. I think that those are the types of things that he does that gets people hyped up. Like, look at when I told you about the Ground Zero thing, where the scrubbing of the names and all that. Like, that's the little things, the little hidden gems that he puts in that gets people excited. So I easily could see him, the way he is with the sleight of hand and like the kind of like a magician, the way he reveals things, and I could really see them doing a trailer for Kojima coming that would have been a way to close out PSX that would have been huge.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you finish, Toby. Go ahead.
It would have been better.
Get the last word. Go ahead.
It would have been better than that Paragon trailer at the end of PSX.
Oh God.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I do think Bobby's right. That's for me was such a weird way to end. Here's a MOBA. It's like,
yeah. That's why I don't think that they had. That's why I kind of agree with Alan that I don't think that was the way their PSX was expected to close out. They just reshuffled. All right, so this is it. Last topic. So with Christmas next week, we kind of wanted to do something in those terms, and what I thought of was, I'm sure we all have Christmas lists. We've all asked for something. I want to know one thing on your Christmas list that you're really excited for and that you hope that you really, really get. So we'll start with Alan.
All my stuff's really video game related, so I really, really hope, and I know that I got it, that I get Xenoblade Chronicles X, because...
For this, you hope you get this. That I've already
yeah,
got.
I hope. But unlike you, Toby, I plan to open it and play it.
You got room to talk,
buddy. I'm so intimidated by a game.
The way you procrastinate for games, don't say nothing about Toby. So, okay, so you're hoping for Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yes, I am, because I want to play a game with you and Toby online. Where I can.
With us online.
We ask you to play stuff all the time, and you never play.
You've never. You know what? I am bad for that, but in my defense, I work shifts. So when you guys are online having lives, I'm at work. For example, I will be working Christmas Day, unlike my two learned friends here.
We didn't.
Toby may in fact starts Xenoblade by Christmas, which would be impressive.
I didn't tell you to pick that job.
You didn't, Neutral.
Exactly. Toby, what about you? What's one thing that you asked for that you really?
Can I say two? Because there's one thing I know I've got, and there's one thing I hope I've got.
I want to know what you hope you got. I didn't ask one thing. I said one thing. Go ahead.
I'm gonna cheat anyway. I don't care.
No, you're not.
I'm breaking the rules.
You can cheat, and I'm gonna edit it out. So do whatever you want to do.
Edit this out. You're not gonna. Right. I'm hoping. Right. I'm hoping to get the new Mission Impossible film on Blu-ray.
Okay.
Because I didn't actually get to see it at the cinema, and I haven't seen it yet. So okay. I'm pretty humped. I'm pretty humped. I'm humped to watch this film, and also I know that I've got Shovel Knight coming for PS4, so I'm really excited to finally be able to play that.
That's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I procrastinate. Can you not play it on your 3DS, Toby?
I haven't got it on 3DS.
For the person that took a year to get it, stop.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've still played it more than Toby, who hasn't played it.
How many times you played SteamWorld Dig?
None. I don't own it.
Thank you.
But I have, thanks to you. That's probably gonna be my next game.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm showing Image and Form love. Yeah.
Again, you wonder why they don't like you. So, for myself. I have, as everybody knows, like I'm a big fan of Earthbound and Mother series. So, as you can see, those that are watching right there, that's Ness. He's in a box, but it's the Japanese version of Ness. I am going to order Lucas the Japanese version as well to put him up there with it. But I found this guy on Etsy. Boulevard Nights is the name of his store, and he does customs. But he has a 3D printer. He has made Paulina, Jeff, and Poe or Pooh, and from Earthbound, in packages, all that stuff, painted, looks beautiful, and I'm like, I really, really hope that Tony got me that. And the cool thing is the packaging is the Japanese packaging, so that's got me even more hyped up because I'm like, I just pray that she got these for me.
Can I ask you a question about that? Because when you posted that, I kind of got a little bit excited. Does he do requests, or is it like pre-set?
This is basically he picks something, and then because he's got to, I guess, create it with his computer, the 3D modeling, and then send it off to the 3D printer, which he has a 3D printer, and then print it out. So now
you could probably commission him to make a 3D.
You probably could, but it probably costs you some money. Yeah, it'd be expensive.
And he makes the packaging up as well, because I don't unbox them.
Yes, he makes the packaging as well. Look him up go on Etsy.com. It's BLVD Nights. I believe it's how it's. But I'll put a link, or I'll send you a link or whatever. It doesn't matter if anybody wants. I can send to it. But he does the packaging as well. Right now, he did a Pokemon trainer, right, amiibo, and it's got a little Pikachu, like on the base of it. So it's like or basically it's at his feet, like Pikachu's at his feet, and he's like the Pokemon trainer. He's got a boy and a girl. The girl has a different character at her feet. But it's just cool, the detail that he does. I'm really, really impressed with these things, and I'm hoping, man, if I get that thing, you guys are gonna hear me across the pond screaming from here because it's cool. It's really cool.
And it will be a girly scream.
It'll be the girliest scream you've ever heard. So that is all. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Geek Cast. I am Bobby, the Geek Guru. You can follow me Instagram, Twitter, at the Geek Gurus. You can follow Toby at Toby's_take, as well as married_gamers. You can check out some videos that myself and Tony have actually done. We played some Amiibo Festival, and I actually said didn't I say that rabbit was or the squirrel was drunk like Alan?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good analogy, really.
Yeah, pretty much. And you can follow Alan at Alan_Paxton. That is all. Peace, mother.
Bye.
Beer time.